What's going on, guys? Today is the day we are going to start the Z. It's going to run for the first time in probably a decade. I have no idea when the last time this thing has been on the road, but in this video, we're going to drive it, and we're going to do a burnout, even if it's only one wheel. In today's video, we're going to be working on wiring. That is the last step. We already got the fuel system plumbed in. That should be good to go as long as there's no leaks. We'll find that out when we hook the wiring up. So let's go over everything that we got going on. Got the exhaust all painted up. I love this $4 high temp grill paint. I've used it on a lot of exhaust systems and it holds up quite well. This looks fantastic. So pumped with how this turned out. This is my first ever, I can't call it a full exhaust system because I'm not done yet. Still need to make the axle back for it, but looks great. Got the wideband for the Terminator already plugged into it. Couple of things that we're going to be utilizing. I've got this current performance wiring harness. So what this is going to do is enable us to run a flex sensor. It's going to power the alternator. Couple things on the alternator. So I'll throw some pictures on the screen here so you can see it. I had an issue where it was actually pushed against the engine mount. Again, I'm using the Dirty Dingo engine mounts. What was happening is the power for the battery that charges the battery was hitting the mount of the alternator. So what I did was pulled the alternator off, took the back cover off, and cut down the power stud, as you can see here on the picture. That gave me a ton of room, and now I can run the wire safely without the engine moving and causing any sparks, any bad things like that. I bought some plugs for the transmission. So this is for the reverse lockout. I'm just gonna wire that to a switch, but I'll actually be able to get the Holley Terminator X to run that on some inputs and outputs. But for today, I'm just going to caveman it and put it on a switch. I also got this plug, which is for the vehicle speed sensor. Again, she'll be able to wire that into the Terminator and have great usability. I know some guys that have actually run another input to a front wheel, and you actually can run traction control on these old cars. Got the plugs for the fuel pump in the back. I got this cool grommet, and what I'm gonna do is, as you can see, it's kind of dark in here, but this was for if you have a right-hand drive car and the heater box is on this side. They just put this plug in there. So what I'll do is I'll run the wires through there, and I'll use this little plug. I'll drill and rivet this into there, cut some of this rubber out, and run the loom through there, keeping it all on the back side, and then eventually I'll be able to cut down any wires in the front that I don't need in this car. The rest of this is just power to the alternator, to the battery. This is going to be some 10 gauge for running to the starter and various connectors to get everything going. Super excited for this. I've been waiting for this day since like I was 14 years old. I finally have a Z. Finally have an LS car, and today it's going to run and we are going to rip it, and I'm so excited. So I think I'm just going to throw you on a time lapse because this is just really finicky, boring stuff, and you can kind of tell what I'm doing on a time lapse. guys, we're about to start it. Sorry I didn't film a whole lot, but this is just really tedious crap, and I'm probably gonna have to like repin and cut some of these wires down to clean this up and kind of tuck it away, because the harness is meant for basically any vehicle and fit in anything. So gonna have to go back and clean all this stuff up. Some of it's just temporary anyway. Everything's wired up back here. Got my 12 volt going to the pump. The pump is grounded to the chassis. Everything's tucked up, and it's all operated by the key. Got the ECU stuck in the glove box with a octopus of wiring in there that I gotta cut down. I got a $10 magnetic mount for the Terminator just to clip up here so I can see my gauges really easy. I'm gonna key this on, and our fuel pump is gonna turn on for the first time, and we're gonna check for any leaks. And our fuel pump didn't turn on, so something's wrong. So pause. Oh, actually it didn't turn on, so I gotta do TPS reset because I unplugged the thing. So we're gonna go through the wizard real quick. TPS, start, hit the pedal twice, 1, 2, that should go, perfect. So we should be able to key it off, key it back on, fuel pump should turn on. Still no fuel pump. Alright, well, back to scratch. Third time's the charm. Finally found a keyed 12 volt constant. ECU's on. Fuel pump is priming. Already checked for leaks. Okay, here we go. Can hear me at all, but this is so sick. Let's test if the well, it's moving now, but let's test the transmission and clutch. Okay, clutch is in. Sweet. It's working. To talk about the wiring real quick. I was going to try to use that little hole down there with that grommet. 2-inch grommet definitely is way too small, so I actually shoved everything underneath where the stock wiring harness goes. You can kind of see it comes through all down here. Need to clean all this crap up. Got some of the inputs actually run already. So this is the input 1 off the Terminator running to this Haggard relay. for my fans, so when it hits 190 degrees, these fans kick on, which is super cool, so you don't need to put like a toggle switch underneath there. My alternator's bad. Discovered that I need to get a new alternator tomorrow, but I'm going to try to take it for a rip anyway because the battery's fully charged, so hopefully I don't get stranded. I just wanted to go put my seatbelt on, and there's definitely no seatbelts in this car. God, that was fifth gear and it just pulls. Jesus, this thing is nuts. I'll go in a second.
Why?
That rod that we made adjustable just keeps moving.
Oh, we'll have to tack it.
Did it hook both tires again?
I think so.
Huh. I just got splashed with a fuck ton of fuel.
Did you?
Yeah.
How?
Because I have this open because I don't have a vent.
Yeah, it smells a little gassy.
A little bit.
One last try.
No, I'm gonna take it home for the police come. I'm gonna get in so much trouble with this car. It's insane. This thing is cool. And for some reason, it's hooking both wheels. Even though it's got an open R180 back there with 245s, but both wheels are still spinning. I need to bleed the brakes. The brakes are god awful. I just blow right through them, as you can see. I put my foot to the floor and it just pushes right through it. So, need to bleed the brakes. It's actually starting to settle down like a little bit. Like, it looks lowered. It drives pretty terrible still. Like, it needs a set of springs and shocks to really change how it drives. But it's a running and driving Z now, and that is freaking awesome. Like, this thing works now. I can pull it out of my garage. I pulled it out of here earlier. Clean the garage. That was the greatest feeling ever. When you can pull a car out of the garage and clean the garage up, oh my God, that's the best feeling ever. When your project actually works, and like, I have so much more motivation for this car now. I'm gonna start ordering parts for this car now. I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
Oh my God, man. Hell yeah. Crash.
reviews, and again, man, having alternator problems. I don't know what's going on. At least I didn't realize what was going on. I'm like, man, what did I do wrong? Because you always second guess yourself. You know, you just put something together and you're like, man, I must have just wired something wrong. I must have like not had something hooked up right. Maybe it was the modification I was doing to the backside of the stud. And I'm like, all right, let's think about this. I have a multimeter. These things are fantastic for testing stuff. And one of my buddies actually has another harness to control the alternator. I'm like, maybe it's just wiring. Like, can I borrow your harness and check it out? So he let me borrow his harness, and it was still having issues. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like, I have to be doing something wrong. Well, took the multimeter. So the first thing I did with the multimeter was I checked for continuity. So sticking that side in and touching this other side. And if you can hear this, there's continuity, which is good, which is a good thing. You know, you want to have current be able to flow through the wire that you're using. Check both of them, both had continuity. I'm like, okay, that's good. Like, we're getting somewhere. It's still got to be my fault. Why is this not working? Well, the power side of your alternator, because it's just, we're running only one wire, needs to have a resistor in there. So I was like, all right, I'm going to check both these harnesses and see. Maybe there's no resistor. And lo and behold, hopefully you guys can see that, but there is no resistance. That's the same resistance as you would get through just a wire. So the whole time, it wasn't my fault. I was so mad. But luckily, Current Performance, the place I got this wiring from, sent me a new one, and they actually gave me money for burning up the alternator. So that was super cool. I've never had customer service like that. So let's check this one, make sure it has continuity, and make sure we have resistance, because I don't want to burn up another alternator, because the parts store was cool enough to actually warranty the last one I had. And we are in business. 463 whatever, you know, resistance. So we're good. I should be able to plug this harness in. This is a brand new alternator. I need to chop that stud off, modify this again, and then we should have good charging power. Should see 14.5 volts on the Holly. The other thing I got was an oil pressure sensor. I got a new AC Delco. I was seeing low oil pressure on the Holly, and I'm hoping it's related to low voltage, because every time I was seeing low oil pressure, it was voltage related. I would start the car, I'd see 30 pounds at idle, and then when the voltage would drop to like 10 volts, it would be at like 9 psi, all the way down to like 1 psi of oil pressure, which is really, really bad. So fingers crossed that when we do this and put this in, we have voltage and we have oil pressure, because I'm really sad if I have to pull that engine back out. Yeah, let's fire this baby up. Hey, we've got battery voltage. I'm just gonna let it warm up and then keep an eye on the oil pressure to make sure we have good oil pressure. Still got voltage, but that kind of concerns me. I don't know, maybe startup burnouts are a bad idea? Well, let me know what you guys think. I think that's way too low. I do have 5W30 in there right now, and I should probably change it, because that first time I changed oil was really gross. So I might change it again, put them 10W30 in there. It is really hot right now. It's 210 degrees. Those fans suck. They're not keeping up with how hot the engine is, but that seems a little low. I can give it a rev. It comes up, so that's probably a good thing. And I just killed it. So definitely need to work on the tune. It doesn't like to come back down to idle when you are like driving it or revving it. So I need to work on that. I just did the wizard setup. Oil pressure does concern me, so I'm not really sure if I should look at some stuff on the engine or if the engine's bad, because I don't know how many miles are on this engine. So that could be an issue. But for now, I guess, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm glad the car is running. I have a lot to do to get it roadworthy still. I just registered for plates. I need to put insurance on it, all that fun jazz. So thanks for watching. We will see you guys next time.